Hello friends, thank you so much for joining me today. I'm very excited to share with you an affordable makeup look with some great drugstore products for those of us with mature skin who are in our 50s, 60s, and beyond. As you can see, I'm here without makeup. I've already done my cleansing and moisturizing. So we're going to do a little bit of everything today from the eyes on down. If you're new to this channel, a very warm welcome to you. My name is Elise and I'm a professional working makeup artist, and my passion and focus is helping those of us who are over 50 look our radiant best. I hope you'll join me every Thursday for new videos, and I also invite you to join our really wonderful family of subscribers by simply tapping that red subscribe button. And if you also hit the bell icon below the video to the right, you'll automatically be notified each time a new video is available. And I thank you so much in advance if you choose to do so. So let's have some fun creating a makeup look with some wonderful and also affordable great drugstore products. And I also thought it might be fun to get to know each other a little better. So I have some questions which I hope you'll find fun to think about. And I hope you'll put your answers to some of these questions in the comments section below so we can all get to know each other a little better. So I like to start, as I mentioned, with my eyes, and I'm going to start with eyelid primer. And first, I'm going to take Kleenex, and I'm just going to dab the Kleenex to get off any excess oil. I have very oily eyelids. So you can see I have a lot of discoloration on my eyelids. There's some veins that you can see, blue veining. There's also some lighter and darker areas. So I really do need to use a primer to cover up that area. The drugstore eye primer that I really love is from Essence. It's called I Love Stage. And it only does come in one color, so I'm going to go ahead and dab a little bit of that on. You don't need a lot, but I like to put it on from my eyelash area all the way up. Tiny bit more here because I have some veins that really do stand out. And then while this dries, then I like to do my eyebrows and then launch into eyeshadow. There is a higher end eye primer that I really think does an amazing job. But this is the best colored eye primer from the drugstore that I've been able to find that matches my skin tone. And that's the key, to find something that matches your skin tone, so you can really blend it in so it covers up the discoloration. There we go with the primer. It doesn't take long to dry, but while it is drying, I'm going to go ahead and we're going to focus on eyebrows. I recently picked up this e.l.f. eyebrow pencil. It's a skinny variety, and I really like it. It's a lighter shade than I'm used to wearing. I usually wear a medium brown. This is actually a taupe color, but I actually kind of like going a little bit lighter with my brows sometimes. Now the only problem was I picked it up yesterday and the pencil, the lead part, fell out. So I'm not sure if this is going to work or not. We'll see. If it's not, I have a backup we'll use. And I like to just sort of fill in that eyebrow area first, sort of the pattern that I want to establish, because I have a scar right here on my eyebrow. And it's really hard to sort of fill in that area with powder. So I'm going to go ahead and just fill in. I want to make sure I'm going far enough down. And I'm just outlining them both on the top and the bottom. Our eyebrows are never exact matches, so it's always interesting to try and get them so they're at least somewhat even with each other. Again, I want to see if this eyebrow, I've come down far enough, not quite far enough. Now I'm using the other end of it, which is the spoolie, which is so important to really make sure that that eyebrow area looks a little bit more natural. Then I want to show you this other e.l.f. product that I picked up. This is also a brow pencil, but as I think you can see, it's a little bit thicker. And what's nice is it also has a spoolie on the other end. So I'm just going to try this. I have not used this one at all before, so we'll see how this works. Oh, I like this. That I really don't think you have to spend a lot of money on necessarily to get quality that's just fine. It's amazing how you get sparser areas in some spots than others, and it seems to change daily. I don't know if you feel that way. Okay, I really like that one especially. a little bit thicker one. It actually goes a little bit faster. Now, since I also have some brow hairs that are a little unruly, I'm going to use this other product that I really love from the drugstore. It's from Almay, and it's called their Brow Styler. And I love the tiny, tiny little brush. And this gives pigment, but it also keeps those brow hairs in place. And mine are especially unruly at the end of my eyebrow area. I did bring this along with me. This is the Maybelline Brow Tattoo, which is their cream pomade, but that goes on a little bit heavier, and I think I want to keep a little bit lighter look with this, so I'm just going to go with what we have. Next, I'm going to go ahead with eyeshadow, and I'm going to combine a couple different palettes. And this is one that I've picked up fairly recently. It's not really a drugstore eyeshadow because you can't really purchase it at drugstores, but it does have a drugstore price. So I thought it would be okay if I went ahead and used this one. It's from a company called ColourPop, and as you saw, it's called Going Coconuts. And let me show you what it looks like. So it's a wonderful neutral palette. There are some shimmers in there as well as mattes. And what I love about it, you can often get this at a very discounted price on their website. They have sales fairly often. So it's incredibly reasonably priced. And here's the other palette I'm going to use. This is a standby, a favorite one. This is from Juvia's Place, which is available at Ulta. And by the way, ColourPop is also available at Ulta, the other palette I'm using. This is Juvia's Place Only All Matte palette, as you can see. Has a great selection of neutral colors with black and dark brown and sort of a burgundy brown and those oranges, which we're also going to use. So I'm going to start off with the two lightest colors from the Juvia's Place palette. And I'm going to start in my crease area. And then I'm just going to work my way up, spreading out that color from the crease area and bringing it up and straight across. Now I think you can start to see the difference between the two eyes with eyeshadow and without, giving a little bit more dimension and interest to the eye area. Also, I have very small eyes, and quite honestly, by bringing my eyeshadow up, which I really need to do because I have slightly hooded eyes, and I need to be able to look straight ahead in the mirror and still see that eyeshadow above the crease. And because I'm doing this and bringing it above the crease, it really helps lift my eye area, and it really helps the whole eye area look a lot bigger. So there you have it on one eye. And I'm just going to start in the crease first, and then bring that crease color on up and straight across as well. All right, now I'm going to do some more dimension at the outer V area of the eye. And I'm actually going to pat the eyeshadow on right here in the outer V of my eye and then bring it slightly up. What I want to do is create a backward 7 here. So I'm going to go ahead, and because I'm going to pat it on, I'm going to use a denser, thicker brush. I'm going to go into the Going Coconuts palette and use that darkest brown at the very bottom. And I'm just going to pat it on. As you can see, there's a lot of pigmentation in this, which is what's so amazing, the really good quality of this for the price. Whoa, got a little bit more on there than I expected even. But we will be blending all this in. I know it looks really messy now, but we will be blending it in. And I do this just so I can make sure that I'm covering all the crepey areas here, because I do have quite a bit of crepiness. All right, messy, very messy. Let's go ahead, and I'm going to take my blending brush, and hopefully we will get that looking the way we'd like to get it to look. So I was having an interesting conversation with my best friend the other night. She lives across the country. We sometimes get to see each other in the summers when we go back to where we both lived for many, many years. But I don't think we're going to be doing any traveling this summer, unfortunately. So we get to have nice, long phone conversations. In fact, 2-hour phone conversations usually, which my husband is just astounded by that. Okay, this is looking a little bit better. And with what's left on my blending brush, I'm just going to bring it in a little bit closer to my nose. Make sure I blended it on the lids. I'm going to take a flat brush because I'm going to pack some lighter color on my lid area. And I'm going to take the Going Coconuts palette from ColourPop and go with the lightest color along the top. This is a matte color. I just want to open up that eye area. And because I have a little bit left over, I'm going to just go along the edge to really make sure that this is all seamless and there's no harsh edges along the edge of the crease color that I brought up a little bit higher on my eye toward my eyebrow. I also like to use the lightest color closer in toward my eye because that is a very dark area. I'm going to just put a little bit more in that area right at the outer edge to create my backward 7. Just do one more layer. You know, usually in these videos we do a lot of editing out because it does take a lot of time to blend in. But do know that there's probably a lot more blending going on actually than you actually end up seeing on the video, because it's so crucial to do that blending. Anyway, going back to my best friend and my conversation that we were having, we got to discussing the topic of what our favorite vacations were that we enjoyed as kids, and also some of our favorite activities and games. And that was really fun. In fact, we got on the phone with my daughter the other night, who's in her late 20s. She was an unexpected, very late blessing in our lives. And we were talking about games that we all used to play together. And my husband and I, a couple days ago, actually pulled out one of our favorite games and played and had a great time. A game called Sorry. Any of you familiar with that? It's really an interesting game because he was way ahead of me and it looked like I had no chance of winning. And just through a couple cards that I drew, I was able to come within one move of actually winning the game. And he did win, but it was really down to the last few seconds of who drew the right card in order to get our last person into the final area that they needed to get into. So anyway, that was fun. But growing up, my friend and I were talking about one of our favorite games being Clue. And that was one of my daughter's favorite games too. So often when she comes home to visit, we'll pull out the Clue board and get in a good game of Clue. All right, I think I have enough of the dark, and I think what I'm going to go in is with a little bit of orange accent. So I'm going to take the Juvia's Place palette and I'm going to combine both of those orange colors and just put a little bit of accent because the colors I'm working with now are very cool tone colors. And by adding a little bit of warmth, I'm going to pop this area a little bit. At least that's the plan. We'll see. So I like to use a pencil brush for this with a pointed end so I can really be very exact on where I'm putting this product. And what I'm doing is going just along the edge of where I applied the other shadow. Hopefully you don't see a streak of orange, but what you hopefully will see is just a little bit more warmth of color coming through, which just gives a little bit more interest to that area. Now for eyeliner, I'm going to go ahead and use the Juvia's Place darkest brown color as my eyeliner. And I always debate, I like using both of these brushes for eyeliner, the angled one as well as the flat top one. Just going to mix actually a little bit of that dark brown color with the lighter black. There are actually two blacks, and one is a much lighter black, and I'm just putting a little bit of that on. And what I love about using eyeshadow as eyeliner is it makes it so much easier just to apply it with a brush. It's like you don't have to be perfect and it'll just be fine. It's very forgiving, and also it can look a lot more natural as you brush it out. It's not a harsh line. That's another thing I like about it. I do have some fallout. Also like to bring it up just in a line like this. So I create a nice crisp edge along that outer line for my eyeshadow. I'm going to take this very thin angled brush and I'm going to go into the deeper of the two medium brown colors. And I'm just going to go along the outer third here. Okay, just gives a little bit added dimension and demarcation to that eye area. And we're going to hold off on doing the mascara till a little bit later. So we can go ahead on to the face makeup. I'm first going to use a little bit of face primer, and I have a brand new product I've not tried before. This is a face primer by Pixi by Petra, and it's called their Flawless Beauty Primer. I don't know what the consistency is like at all. We'll see. See what it feels like. Oh, I like it, actually. It's very moisturizing feeling. And actually, I needed some more moisture under this eye area because I did take a wipe and clean up a little bit from the eyeshadow fallout. This gives a little bit of glow to the face. That's interesting. We'll see if it's too much glow as we move along here. But I kind of like it. It feels really good. Pixi products, by the way, if you're not familiar with them, you can get them at Target. For our foundation, I'm going to use one that also is something that you can get at Target. It's from No. 7, which is a UK company. It's called the Lift and Luminate Triple Action Serum Foundation. And I'm just going to shake it a little bit first. This is supposed to be a pretty skin-like foundation, so light to medium coverage. I'm going to start where I need coverage most, right in the center part of my face. And then I'm going to take my foundation brush and blend this in. I love the angle of this brush. It just makes it so easy to get in all the angles and corners of my face. I did have a lot of trouble finding the right color with this foundation. That's the only tough thing about drugstore foundations, is trying to pick the right color. I think I had to, on the third try, taking it back, I found the right color. And usually with drugstore products, unfortunately, there's not much on their website that really helps you much in the way of choosing the right color. But finally found the right one, so I'm happy with this. All right, I think we're done with the foundation. I didn't realize I had so many Pixi products, but I guess I do. This is an under eye corrector from Pixi. As you can see, it's sort of a peach tone, which is exactly what I'm looking for. And I'm going to take a concealer brush and just dot a little bit of this in the area where I have sort of the blue-purple coloring for that dark circle. And do that on both eyes, just a little bit. And then I'm just going to press it in lightly with my ring. Nope, not my ring finger. Now I'm using my ring finger, with my ring finger. And that sort of helps it melt into the skin a bit. Take the Maybelline Instant Rewind Concealer in, I believe it's light. I'll put all of this in the description box. And then I'm just going to lightly go over that. So I don't move the peach color, but I'm just adding a little bit of a lighter color under the eye area. And then I'm going to take just a tiny bit of powder. This happens to be translucent loose powder, and I'm going to just press it in under that eye area so I don't get any creasing. I do like that Pixi under eye corrector. It's not quite as creamy as I'd like it to be, but it works pretty well. Okay, so hopefully I won't have any creasing going on under there. We'll find out. And now I'm going to try something that is brand new well, it's not a brand new product, but it's new to me, something I've not tried before. This is Maybelline's Instant Rewind Concealer, but this is in the Brightening color. And I've heard a number of people say that this is really nice to just sort of dot on under the eye area as a brightener. So I'm all for brightening this area. And So I'm going to brighten this area and see how I like it. I have a rather prominent nasolabial fold, and by putting a lighter color on it, hopefully it won't look as prominent. Basically, I'm using this as a contour down the areas of my face where I'd normally contour. See how I like it. So I would contour with light color down the center of my face. When you film, the lights are really bright, so sometimes it's really hard to see how this actually is coming across in real life, what it would look like in real life. Now we're going to move toward blush and highlight and do a little contouring before lipstick. So I'm going to do something a little bit different. I usually use cream products to highlight and contour. I did use a cream product with the Maybelline Instant Age Rewind Brightener. I'm going to try a bronzer that I've never tried before, but it always gets high ratings from an awful lot of people, so I thought it would be fun to try. Now, as I mentioned, it is not a cream product, it's a powder product. So I'm going to powder my face in the areas where I'm going to be applying it, because powder on top of cream can kind of get splotchy. So I'm going to use some powder, and I have to confess that I am cheating. This is not a drugstore product. I so wanted to use Rimmel Stay Matte powder because I've heard great things about it, but I wasn't able to get hold of it in time. I'm going back to my tried and true Laura Mercier translucent powder, but it's the only non-drugstore product that I'm using in this video. Just going to cover the area where I'm going to do some bronzing. And I'm going to use a little bit up here too. Maybe even along the side of my nose. We'll see. Okay, I think we're ready. So I have shared this Physicians Formula bronzer on another video, but I will have to show you what this is part of because it's a pretty amazing product. So this is Physicians Formula, which is a drugstore brand. So I'm going to show you what is involved here. I'm going to hold this down so it doesn't reflect quite as much. There is plastic covering it, which is causing the reflection problem. So there's eyeshadow on one side, which you can see, and then there are bronzers on the other side. And I'm going to use the bronzer at the bottom, which is the deepest one, called the Sculpting Bronzer. This is definitely pigmented. It definitely has a cool tone, which you really want with a contour powder. So I'm also going to bring a little bit of this under my chin area. Hopefully it helps my jawline look a little firmer. And then around here. But I'm going to use my foundation brush and just go along the edges to blend this in a little bit better. And also go under my chin. I think it's time for blush. Now there's a wonderful cream blush that I absolutely adore that is available from the drugstore. It's Wet n Wild. This is simply called their Mega Glow Blush. And as you can see, it's a really pretty color, but it's too peachy for me, unfortunately. So I'm going to instead, I'm going to put a little bit of this on the back of my hand. And I'll show you what it looks like. Very peachy, very pretty though, has a little bit of glow to it. And then I'm going to mix it with another Pixi product. They call their On the Glow Blush. And as you can see, this is a much pinker color. So I'm going to mix these two together and hopefully that'll give me a pinkier peach color to work with. I'm going to take my brush and get as much on my brush as possible and then start here and just pull it up along the center of my cheekbones. Just want a little bit of a flush. And then do this cheek area as well, right in the middle of my cheekbones. Just for a little bit of color. I don't want a lot, just a little bit of color. Okay, that gave a little bit of a flush to my cheeks, which is really all I wanted. And just to make sure it all is looking seamless, I'm going to go back over that with my foundation brush. And then for some highlighter, again, this is another Wet n Wild product. This is a cream highlighter, and this is from Wet n Wild. This is their liquid highlighter. They're both about equally as bright or luminous, so I'm going to put a little bit of the cream on the back of my hand. And then I'm going to take this little brush from Real Techniques, and swirl that in, and then just add a little bit highlight just on the top area of where I applied the brush, right at the top of my cheekbones. And I like the size of this brush for actually this application. And then once again, I'm going to take my foundation brush and just blend this in. Next, we need to do mascara and then lipstick, and I think we'll be pretty well set. Now, as I've mentioned in previous videos, I have very sensitive eyes, so I usually use Tarte because it really doesn't have any ingredients that seem to bother my eyes. So frankly, I'm a little bit nervous about using a drugstore mascara. I'm going to use a drugstore mascara that's gotten a lot of rave reviews from a lot of people. It's from L'Oreal. It's called Lash Paradise. So I'm going to first curl my lashes and then we'll give it a try and hopefully won't have irritated eyes afterward. This is what it looks like. Ooh, this is a big brush. This is one I would not try to do my bottom lashes with because I would end up with more mascara all across the bottom. Well, I have to say that this really builds up quickly and easily. I'm impressed. Okay, let those dry and I'll come back and do a second coat, and then we're going to move on to lipstick. So because I have issues with feathering of lipstick, I put concealer on around my lip line first. I'm going to use some of my Maybelline Instant Age Rewind and rub that in. And then I'm going to use some of my e.l.f. Lip Lock Crayon. My e.l.f. Lip Lock Crayon creates another barrier to prevent feathering, and then I blend that all in. Then I want to use my lip liner, and this is a Revlon Color Stay Lip Liner in sort of a wine color. That is one more step to prevent lipstick feathering, hopefully creating one more barrier. And now I'm going to try a brand new lip color. I've been trying to match a MAC lip color unsuccessfully for many weeks, and this is lighter than the one I did have that I love so much, which unfortunately is no longer being made. But I think I can make it work pretty close to what it looked like with the MAC. So this is a matte lip color. It's pretty pinky and light, so I'm going to add a little bit deeper matte color. We're getting close, I think. It'd be so nice to have one lipstick that would be just the right color. I put matte on first to prevent lipstick feathering again, because that does not feather as easily as more luminous lipstick. But now I'm going to put a more luminous lipstick on top of that to give my lips some radiance. And then one last thing, lip gloss. This is my CoverGirl Lip Lava, which I love, which unfortunately has also been discontinued, but one that I found recently that might be a match is this Huda Beauty one that is definitely not a drugstore price, but something I'm going to try out in the future to see if it works as well as my CoverGirl Lip Lava. Now I want to go back and do one more coating of mascara. So here we are back with the final finished look, and I'd like to take a couple of minutes just to talk a little bit about some of the products that I thought were particularly interesting that we tried today. I really did enjoy this number 7 foundation, which I found at Target. It went on really smoothly and easily. It's a nice skin-like look. It has, I would say, light to medium coverage, but it can be buildable as well. I want to see how it wears over the long haul, so I'll be giving this a test a few more times to see my final thoughts on it. But my first impression is pretty positive. The two products that surprised me the most were this Pixi by Petra primer. I didn't expect it to have quite as much glow as it does have, but when I did check the back of it, it did say it was a brightening primer to give a youthful glow, and that it certainly does. I'm trying to figure out if it does too much of a glow, so it maybe looks a little bit on the oily side as opposed to just the glowy side. I haven't quite decided that yet, but I'd love your thoughts on it as well. Too shiny? Or maybe okay, not sure. But I think it would help a lot if I used a little bit less of it next time. And also perhaps placed it a little bit more strategically, just for instance in this part of the face rather than all over the face. But I definitely would like to allocate some more time to trying out this primer a little bit further, because it definitely does what it says it's going to do, which is provide a glow to the skin. The second product which surprised me the most was this L'Oreal Voluminous Lash Paradise. I am stunned by the amount of volume that I got with this mascara, and it's still holding up. My lashes aren't drooping at all, they're staying curled. My only concern is that because of my eye sensitivity, I might have some problems with the formula. So far, so good, but I'll need to wear it a few more hours to see what kind of reaction I get. I am certainly keeping my fingers crossed that this one will work because I am really impressed with this mascara. I especially like these two e.l.f. eyebrow products, especially this one that's a little bit thicker. It really went on beautifully and filled in my brows really quite well and quite quickly. So I definitely want to keep working with this one. It is kind of nice to know that there are eyebrow products out there that are not terribly expensive that can really do the job. So I'm excited to try this one a little bit more. And I continue to love my Almay Brow Styler. It does a great job of holding my brows in place, plus providing just a little bit of extra pigment as well. And I continue to like my Wet n Wild Megalo liquid highlighter. This one does provide quite a bit of glow, so you only need the tiniest little bit. And you can apply it easily with a brush, with your fingers, or with a makeup sponge. Works beautifully as well. This one has amazing glow. It glides on easily. It doesn't look splotchy at all. It's a winner in my book in terms of a drugstore product. One that I don't know quite what I think about is the Maybelline Instant Age Rewind Brightening product. I did apply it here in the cheek area, but I had also applied the primer, which gave me quite a bit of glow. So I think I would have to try this product separately to see what I really think about it and to see what kind of brightening power it actually has. I also am really impressed with the quality of L'Oreal's matte lip colors. This absolutely glided on my lips. And I don't always have that kind of reaction from drugstore matte lipsticks especially. This one really went on beautifully. It isn't quite the right color for me. It's a little too pink, but mixing it with my other L'Oreal, which is a deeper plum color, I think, at least for the time being, will work well until I find that holy grail replacement for my MAC lipstick that's been discontinued. I do like the Pixi Corrector concentrate in that peach color to use in my dark circle area under my eyes. It's a little stiffer than I would like. It doesn't have quite as creamy a consistency as I might like for that area. I will continue to give it a try and work with it a little bit more to see my final thoughts on it. And the last product I want to mention is the bronzer from Physicians Formula. It really was pigmented, and I certainly put on a little bit too much at the beginning, even though I was trying to be careful. So at least I know for future to apply just a tiny little bit. But it did have a beautiful color to it. It worked really well as a contour because of the cool tone it had. So I'll continue to try out some of the other Physicians Formula bronzers. And I must show you this entire Physicians Formula product. This is the one that had the bronzer in it, and you also saw the eyeshadow colors, but you didn't see all the rest of the things that were in here. Let me just quickly show you. So in addition to the eyeshadows and the bronzers, there are also blushes and lip colors And that's not all. What opens up on the other side are highlighters, and there's also a mirror that's tucked away. So this is an amazing array of products. I know about a month ago this was still available on the Physicians Formula website. It was a special product over the holidays, so it might still be available. On the back, which is really nice, they list all of the products in here. I think this pretty well covers it for today. I so hope you enjoyed this video and found it helpful. And if you did, I hope you'll give it a thumbs up, because giving a YouTube video a thumbs up really helps any channel's visibility and growth, because the video will then show up as a suggested video to other people. So I'd be so very grateful if you'd help my channel grow by giving this video a thumbs up. And if you have any holy grail, absolute favorite drugstore products, I hope you'll share those in the comments section below, as well as your thoughts on your memories of your favorite games that you enjoyed as a child. And we didn't really get to this, but also would love to hear about your favorite trips you took with your family. I know one of my favorites was a trip to Williamsburg with my family. I think that's where my love of history started to take root. Also, one out to California, where we actually took the train all the way to California because my mother was scared to death of flying because of an experience she'd had previously on an airplane. And then we headed north and then took the train all the way across Canada back to the Chicago area. Saw Lake Louise and Banff and also Vancouver. Those were sights I will never forget. So those were some wonderful memories. And I hope you'll share in the comments section below some of the favorite trips that you enjoyed with your family when you were young. Thanks so very much for giving me the gift of your time today. It's wonderful getting to know all of you through the comments that you make on my videos, so I really appreciate that. We're developing a wonderful community of friends, and I'm very grateful. And I so hope that you stay happy and healthy and have an absolutely fabulous rest of your day. Take care.